Okay, this is the first request that was shouted out, which was labelled Love. She unscrews the top of a new whiskey bottle and shuffles about in her candlelit hovel like some kind of witch with blue fingers and mittens. She smells like the cat and the neighbors she sickens. The black and white TV is long seen a picture. The cross on the wall is a permanent fixture. The postman delivers the final reminders. She sells off her silver and poodles and china. Drinks to remember I, me and myself. Winds up the clock, knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much. So the past has been bottled and labeled with love. During the wartime, an American pilot made every air raid a time of excitement. So she moved to his Perry and married the Texan. She learned from a distance how love was a lesson. He became drinker and she became mother. She knew that one day she'd be one or the other. He had himself older, drunk himself dizzy. Proud of her features, she kept herself pretty. Drinks to remember me and myself. Winds up the clock, knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much. So the past has been bottled and labeled with love. Like a cowboy got drunk in a slumber, out on the porch in the middle of summer. So she crossed the ocean back home to her family, but they had retired to roads and sandy. She moved home alone without friends or relations. Lived in a world full of age reservation. A hot in lounges, she'd say that she'd sought all the friends who had left her to drink from the bottle. Drinks to remember me and myself. Winds up the clock and knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much. So the past has been bottled and labeled with love. Drinks to remember me and myself. Winds up the clock and knocks dust from the shelf. Home is a love that I miss very much. So the past has been bottled and labeled with love. The past has been bottled and labeled with love. The past has been bottled and labeled with love. I find talking about writing really hard to do because it's a very insular process, and it's something I really enjoy when I get it right, and it's immensely frustrating when I get it wrong. What I have learned, and it's something I learned very early on, is that I will persevere with things even if I think they're bad, because sometimes things can turn out to be great. Most times it doesn't, you know, but sometimes it does. And I also put in regular hours. I very, very much believe that inspiration comes from working rather than waiting for inspiration. So I try and do that, and I'm quite good at doing that. You sit in the corner, chewing your finger, looking so stupid, but somehow so sweet. You play with your hammer, watching the party, looking at cameras, and fasten between behind your nail a piece of dust. Baby, you're an introvert. You say that you're hungry, watching your waistline, common as cabbage, or maybe as green. You mess up my party by touching my collar and saying I'm handsome. I'm life in a dream, but sometimes love can really hurt. Baby, you're an introvert. I don't mind you quiet, you can shout, I don't care. But when you sit down, you'd think that you out there. I'd get more response from a state unassured. But you're on the level as a real introvert. You never read novels, just problems and diets. Did you know that morning came just after night? You beautiful dum-dum, I love you like illness. If you were to leave me, I put up a fight. But sometimes love can really hurt. Baby, you're an introvert. I don't mind you quiet, you can shout, I don't care. But hey, when you sit down, you'd think that you out there. I'd get more response from a state unassured. But you're on the level as a real introvert. A real introvert.
My relationship with Chris is very strange, and I think there's more than a touch of Englishness to it, and that there's a lot that's unsaid between us, and we've more often it's very traditional rock and roll, quite boring for people to have go at each other through songs, and certainly Chris and I have done that. And this is another stage of that. It's a cruel look at Chris, really. It's very uncharitable of me, and it's one side of my personality that's probably not very nice, but it's also one side of how I think. The other side, though, is that Chris and I actually get on very well. We have a lot of issues between ourselves, a lot of history. And I think one of the interesting things about when I think about my relationship with Chris is that actually we were friends probably for 3 years when we first met, and almost as soon as we started making records, personally we went in different directions. And I think we've always had a great deal of respect for each other and a great deal of love, but we never really hung out together, except in this enforced situation of being in a band, where our work, I think, was really informed by, we weren't antagonistic in our relationship, but I think that because we were so different, we were always pulling in different directions.